name is Pasin. Last name is Chanou. And if you're not familiar with, they are not Cambodian names. No, they are Burmese names.
Burmese.
So later on, when you go talking about my ethnic background, we could go further into that. But my family, we are not Khmer. We are a minority group called the Thais, and the Burmese called Ashan. And so I'm basically just the third generation in Cambodia.
Oh, wow.
So are you considered an ethnic minority even in Burma?
Yes.
Wow.
So in Burma right now, which they rename themselves Myanmar, you know that the Burmese are the largest ethnic group. And the second largest group are the Shans with 5 million people.
And what was your reason for emigrating to the US?
So, you know that the Civil War really started probably 1970. It actually started before that, but the main Civil War between the Khmer Rouge and the Republic of Cambodia started in 1970. So by 1972, the Khmer Rouge were actually winning the war. So a lot of people were fleeing into the city side, in the city, they were fleeing the countryside. And so the city was getting bigger and bigger. And my dad, he already know that, the government is not gonna win, they're gonna lose. They're gonna lose to the Khmer Rouge. And the war was getting close to home. In 1972, I was a first-year student at a university in Phnom Penh. And we could hear the fighting every night. So my dad told me, you have to get out here because we are going to lose the war. So the main thing is really, he sent me out to flee the war. That was the main reason. I am married for close to 47 years to my first wife. And unfortunately, she passed away 2 years ago. She passed away in 2020 from lung disease. She passed away in Long Beach. So we were married for a long time. And we have 3 children together. Our firstborn, who is a daughter, she is turning 42 this year. The second one would be 40, and the third one would be 38. And then all the children have their own family. I have a total of 5 grandchildren. They're all in California. I'm the only one who has moved out to Des Moines.
So you are alone in Des Moines right now.
No, I forgot that part. I did get remarried. I got married again to a lady here who lives in Des Moines last year, 2022. That's when we get married. So I moved to her place in Des Moines. She owns a hair salon, cutting hair. She is about 7-8 years younger than me. And I'm here helping out a little bit here and there, sweeping the floor, since I'm not licensed to cut hair.
You spoke a little bit about being a first-year student. Would you share a little bit about your economic background, talk a little bit about your education, and maybe your family or your father's career?
Yeah. So we are from a town called Pasin. And the most important aspect of Pasin was that it was founded by the Thai people minority group about 100 years ago. And they came here because of the gemstone business. So the Thai, our group, our ethnic group, we came there to deal in gemstones. We dig gemstone, we open gemstone mines. These are like sapphires and rubies. So that was our town. We built that town. Even the name Pasin is a Thai word. It's not a Khmer word. we built up that town. At the peak, I would suggest maybe there were maybe 50,000 Thai people living there. So we compared to the rest of the country, we were very well off. And but the school, this is a little town on the border with Thailand. The school only go up to elementary school. To go beyond that, we have to go to the bigger town, which is Battambang. It's about 60 miles away. So that's the bigger town, Battambang. So I finished my elementary school in Thailand, then I had to go to Battambang. That's where I go to middle school and high school. I graduated high school in Battambang in 1972. And then after Battambang, I went to Phnom Penh to go to university. I started at the University of Law and Economics. It's still there. It's probably one of the oldest university in Cambodia. So I was there close to 1 year before I got my student visa approved to come to the US.
So you mentioned, was your dad already in the US when you came, or did you all travel together, immigrate?
No. All my dad, my family, they stay in Cambodia. And when I came, I actually came with a cousin, two of us, who went to the same school, and so on. So I had a buddy. This year, he lived. So when we came, we went to live in Washington, D.C. because at the time, there's only a small group of Cambodians in the U.S. in 1973. And most of them live around Washington, D.C. area because there's a Cambodian embassy there. It's a lot of little cluster. That's where we ended up in Washington, D.C. And my cousin, he still lives in Silver Spring, which is just a few miles from Washington, D.C. He's still there. I just went to visit him last year. But anyway, my family did not come. They stayed around. My dad had a pretty good sized business. He got a lot of property. He just didn't want to, he didn't want to abandon his business. And I think that was, so my dad, he's a businessman, and he claimed that, he can do business with anybody. He said he has done business with the Thai, has done business with the Khmer, had done business with the French, has done business with Indian, he has done business with the British. He said, would have no problem doing business with Khmer. Of course, he had no idea that the Khmer would not do business. That's why he did not try to get out of the country. His thinking was, I would say, totally wrong, looking back. But he had a lot of chances to get out, but he did not.
So sorry.
Yeah. But no, they did, all my family did escape the Khmer Rouge. Nobody died during the Khmer Rouge. The reason is because we were fortunate, we live in the town that's on the border with Thailand. So it was very easy to walk across the border and get into Thailand.
And when you say family, are you talking about like your mom and other siblings?
Right. So I am the youngest in the family. I have 5 siblings, 4 older sisters and my older brother. Okay. So even before 1975, before the Khmer Rouge took control, 3 of my sisters, they already fled to Thailand. So remaining in Cambodia with my dad was 1 sister and 1 brother. They were there because they were helping, they were working for him, helping in his business. And then when the Khmer Rouge came, they were stuck in Thailand for, I believe, no longer than 6 months. See, when the Khmer Rouge came to our town, at first, they did not do any of these bad things like they did in Battambang, Phnom Penh, where they would chase everyone out of the city. At first, they did not do that in Thailand. So only later on they start doing that. And that's when my dad collected all the family and he fled to Thailand. So he was under Khmer rules for 5-6 months.
Were you the only family member that came to the States?
I was the only one, yes. Because I
And
was the only one still in school. The rest, they already started having their own business. Or my older brother, who is 2 years older, he already started working for my dad. So
Mhm. And how did your dad know, like, the process of being able to sponsor you as a student here to the US? Because that's, I mean, now the process is difficult, but yeah, not a lot of folks knew about that beforehand. So I'm very interested to see how your father knew that was a good way for you to get out of Cambodia.
so my dad is very, he was, what should I say? He know a lot of people at the high level. He know the process, because he does business with these people. He was very well off. He was a wealthy businessman, and he know someone who worked at the Cambodian embassy here, a Cambodian official at the Cambodian embassy in Washington, D.C. So we contacted him to sponsor me. So yeah, it's because he knows somebody. That make it easy.
Yeah, no, that's how it is, especially
Yeah.
with sponsorships, being able to know someone here in the States to sponsor.
Right. You pretty much have to know somebody. Yes. I like to talk a little bit about maybe my childhood because it's different from a typical childhood of a Cambodian family. So Thailand, like I said, it was founded by this immigrant group from Burma called the Thai people. We were here. And so the whole town, everyone is from Thailand. And it's a sizable town. And so all your friends are people from Thai ethnic group, everyone. And so when I went to school, that I did not start speaking Khmer until I start elementary school. And I started that when I was 6 or 7 years old. So the first day when I was in school, I spoke zero Khmer. That's why I made a joke with Susanna that she probably knows more Khmer than me. And even when I was in elementary school, I was struggling with the language. I did not get fluent, start to speak better Khmer until I was maybe 12, 13 years old. That's when I started middle school. And middle school, I went to a different city. I told you about Battambang, which is like 60 miles from Thailand. Because the elementary school in Thailand, that is the highest level education. To continue, I had to go to Battambang. It's only when I went to Battambang that I really started to speak Khmer and have Khmer friends. In Thailand, I did not even have any Khmer friends. We go to school, we go home, we speak the same language. We don't speak Khmer. So that one part of it that's unique.
Yeah, that is unique because so going to Battambang and then being around more Khmer people, how was that like? Did they know that you were not Khmer? And
Oh, they know because they know. Just look at the name. The first thing they pick, they look at my name and know that that's not Khmer.
Still made my friends.
I make their friend. Yeah, when they started the middle school, yeah, all my friends are Khmer.
But how back then, how did Khmer folks view Burmese folks? What was that type of relationship?
So, this is, I think, because economically, we are doing very well. So I think the regular folk, Khmer folk, sort of have respect for us. I don't know. I think it's probably where doesn't matter where you are. I mean, when people see you as being more successful financially, they have more respect for you. before I even start the elementary school, the public school, probably starting at when I was 4 years old, my dad sent me to a Buddhist temple. And that was to teach you the Thai language, the Thai, letters. So that's where I first made a lot of friends with the other Thai kids. So I mean, it's a special time. We bonded, we got very close. I think that's probably my fondest memory, being a school kid at the Buddhist temple.
So with the Buddhist temple, is that where a lot of communities came together? Like what was that symbolized in Cambodia?
Yes. Yeah, so it's the that's where all the Thai people come, to for example, like New Year, that's where they go to celebrate. They would have the festival, they would have the games, they have, and with the Thai, when they celebrate New Year, they splash water at each other. It's I have fond memory of those times. And of course, the food, the Thai food is a little different from the Khmer food. So fond memory of those things, the food to eat, the good times, splashing water, getting people wet.
I love it. We need to bring that back for Khmer New Year. Being able to splash water on folks. I'm thinking of ideas. But yes, definitely.
In the old day, that's not a Khmer tradition to splash water on each other.
It's more Thai?
It's Thai.
Oh.
It's not a Khmer tradition. But I think the Khmer start doing this, they brought this tradition back from the refugee camps. They start doing like the Thai. But this is new to the Khmer. Khmer did not do that before.
Can you share more about your personal experience about leaving Cambodia, coming here to the US and being in Washington, D.C.? I'm glad that you're here. You came with your cousin and that you weren't alone, but definitely want to hear more about that.
So, when we first came, that our English was still very limited. In Cambodia, we were in high school, and even when we start the university, all the textbooks were in French, that. So we knew some French, but very little English, very, very little English. And so when we first came here, they put us through intensive English classes, my cousin and me, for 5 months, English from 9 to 4 o'clock, immerse you in English until you are ready to go to school. Even that, my first year at school, I struggled with my English. Every one of the Cambodian students struggled. So we would help each other. Now, everyone, when they go to school, they would take the tape recorder, they record the professor. We take it back and we transcribe, say, what did he say here? That's how we use each other. That's how we survive. That's how we did well in school. And we were living cheaply. We would rent a 2-room apartment and we would have like 6 people staying together to save money. Those are the fun times. And also, some of our friends had to work part-time because the money that their parents sent to them was not enough, to survive. So with the school tuition and expenses, living expenses, those were the early days.
What was the biggest culture shock for you when you came to the States?
The first culture shock, I was here like maybe a month, and a bunch of us were waiting at a bus stop, right, at night. And there was a black guy, he drove by. We don't know him, he doesn't know us. He drove by, he stopped at the bus stop and he said, fuck you, Chinese. That totally, I mean, I never heard that before. And I had no idea that why this guy would have hostility against us. So haven't done anything to him. He didn't know us. That was a bad shock to me. That was the first shock that I had. I was only here for a month, and to hear that.
Because in Cambodia, you didn't really run into that at all in terms of like racism or anything like that.
No, that's not something that, yeah, we don't run into that kind of things.
So what was your guys' response?
Well, we, among us, there were 4 or 5 of us. We was just like laughing. So we couldn't understand why the guy was doing that. And we forget about it. We I don't know. We just think that we thought that he was crazy. And after that, I started observing how people treat us. So the little thing that made me think that, maybe some of the people don't want us there. Or maybe because we are different, they think of us as being different. They treated us different. And there was another experience, though. This is with a white family. So at school, we made some, good friends with some of the white students, and we were getting close to this lady, and his dad came to talk to us, and it opened my eyes. So he came to us and said, I know you guys, and my daughter, you guys getting well together. But I want you to know that you are Asian and you are Buddhist. And to him, he said, this is like, maybe my daughter and you guys should not be too friendly. So we are different. We are white, you're Asian. We are Christian, you are Buddhist. That was a little shock to me too. So he said, okay, fine.
And what did the daughter do?
The daughter listened to the dad. She started coming around to us, yeah.
How did you come to Long Beach then? So you were a student in Washington, D.C. How did you come to the Long Beach area?
Okay, so this is when my wife's story, will get injected into the story. So in Washington, D.C., there was only at the time, there was only a small group of students. Maybe there were 50 of us, okay? And
that
so
were
my
Khmer
wife,
or just like Asian? That were Cambodian or Asian?
Cambodian students there, okay? Maybe 50 people who are Cambodian students. This is in 1973 to 1980 maybe. And so my wife came about the same time as me. We didn't know each other back home, okay? And so we got close. We became a girlfriend, boyfriend. And I graduated from AU 1978. And she graduated 1979, 1 year behind me. So during that time, her family was able to come to the US. Her family from the refugee camp in Thailand, okay? So her family was in the US and they were in California in 1978. But actually they started, I think they came in 76. So 78, they've been there 2 years ago. And my wife, we haven't been married yet, my girlfriend, okay? She always once she got her degree, her desire was that she want to come join her family in California, in Long Beach. So as soon as she had her graduation, her degree in 1979, we start packing up, said, let's go California to join them. And, I don't know anyone except my cousin. And my cousin also was able to get his family to come join him in Maryland. So I said, okay, we go to California. So that's it. That's how we ended up in Long Beach, California in 1979, because my wife wanted to join her family.
And so did they know people already? Her family side know people in Long Beach already because of the sponsorship type of connection?
Um, so her family is unique too. I'm unique, she's unique. the Her uncle was he was a commander in the Cambodian Air Force. He has a helicopter that he flies to fight the Khmer Rouge. So on the day of April 17, 1975, okay, he flew his helicopter and landed on the apartment where my wife's family lives. He got everyone on his helicopter and fly them out to Thailand. He fled the country, basically, on the day that the Khmer Rouge came. So they were not stuck during Khmer Rouge, but they were stuck in Thailand for a few months in the refugee camp. So they were actually able to come early to the US.
You were living here in the US while the Khmer Rouge was happening in Silk Khmer. So how was that for you, knowing that your family was there while you were here? Can you share more about like those feelings and how?
I was scared and worried all the time. Yeah. So before I go to school, I would turn on the network news, CBS or whatever. They talk about it every day about the situation in Cambodia. About yeah, it was scary about how close like Khmer Rouge was getting to Phnom Penh, for example, or even after they took control already after April 75. You know that for the first few weeks, they still allow the foreign journalists there. So I see that. I could still see all that on TV. I see all these Khmer Rouge, look like they little kids with big guns, all dressed in black, running around the city of Phnom Penh, chasing people out. I see that with my own eyes on TV. It was scary. At the same time, I could not get in touch with my family.
I'm very interested to see how the US portrayed Cambodia and Khmer Rouge in the media versus what you were hearing from your family and other Khmer community members. Was it the same? Did you feel like it was pretty accurate of what you were seeing on TV versus what you were hearing from other friends and family?
Okay, you know that when the Khmer Rouge, the first few weeks of the first day, when they start coming in, a lot of people welcome them. You know that. A lot of people in Cambodia. They welcome them because they said, this is the end of war. We don't have war anymore. Nobody's going to die anymore. They didn't know that the Khmer Rouge is going to turn around and start kicking people out the city and start killing. They didn't know that. So, and then I remember this guy, I think he was like educated in France and he came back. And so the Khmer Rouge, when they start coming in, looked like their front troop was just young people who could not speak. So this guy, he pretend he's a spokesman for the Khmer Rouge. He started having a press conference and, talking about the success of the Khmer Rouge and what they're going to do. He speaks for the Khmer Rouge without the Khmer Rouge telling him to do this. He just took on his own. But from what I heard, it lasted him for 2 days and he disappeared. And we could only guess that the Khmer Rouge took him out. This is not your role. What are you doing? It was probably one of the early casualties of Khmer Rouge brutality.
As somebody that came here to the States before the Khmer Rouge happened, is there like a general experience that you would say your generation has had a unique experience or unique connection that you all have that's different from those that came during the Khmer Rouge?
Okay, so even people here, you know that we were divided too. There was some group that wanted to go back to help Khmer build up the country. And as a matter of fact, I know a couple of guys who did that. Okay, they went back home. They packed up and went back to Phnom Penh. But from what I heard, the minute they walked off the airplane, the Khmer took them to Tuan Slai. These people, they said they're gonna go back and help the Khmer rebuild the country. They never had a chance. Because the Khmer do not trust anybody from outside. Anybody from outside must be, if you come from the US, must be a CIA. Okay? They don't trust anyone. They kill all these people. They do go back because they really thought that the Khmer was, you know, so good thing gonna happen, you know. The Khmer liberated the country. Now they're gonna go back and help them rebuild. Mm-hmm. And the reason for that, we haven't talked much about the London government, you know, the Khmer Republic, the one that fighting the Khmer Rouge. So some of the people in the US here think that they are very corrupt. That's why they lost to the Khmer Rouge. So once the London government is gone, then we can go back and help rebuild the country. That's why they went back.
And then, so you were saying there was a split between the folks in here in the States when it came to the Khmer Rouge. So you were saying there's one group that was like, oh, I'm going to go back and help the Khmer Rouge. What was the other group?
The other group, they want to fight the Khmer Rouge. They want to go to the jungle and, you know, as a matter of fact, they did, you know, that a few people went back to the jungles and fight the Khmer Rouge, form their own army.
And this is from the group that was in the students that came beforehand?
Not so much as a student, but most of them are, okay, I was talking about my wife's family. Mm-hmm. The uncle was, you know, in the Air Force. So most of the people who go back or help to go back or help people who are still there are these generations, are the people who were in the army in the previous government, in the London government. So they go back and they form, I would say, guerrilla army to fight the Khmer Rouge.
So being here in Long Beach, what did you see differently in Long Beach versus Washington, D.C. when you came to Long Beach?
So Washington, D.C., we don't have a large community like Long Beach. You know, and also it's spread out, right? So let's say people who live in Silver Spring, people who live in Virginia, people who live in Washington, D.C. itself, we sort of spread out. But Long Beach, you know, if you go down to where Cambodia town is, you know, we have more and more people coming to that area. You know, we have more and more people building businesses, or more and more people coming to live in the area. That is a big difference. That's why eventually we would have Cambodia town, because we have more and more of us concentrated in one neighborhood, compared to like Washington, D.C., we didn't have something like that.
Can you describe how Anaheim Street was back in the 1970s when you arrived?
So, you know that before Cambodia started moving in, Anaheim Street in that area was a rundown neighborhood. There's a lot of empty, vacant stores. And as a matter of fact, I talked to one Hispanic realtor. He told me that he couldn't give away this store until the Cambodian come in. Then he can run the store, and also it's a blessing. It's a win-win. You know, the Cambodian can run the store for cheap, and then the landlord can rent the store and get some money. So that's how we got business in Cambodia town, because the store were there, they were vacant, and we can get it at the right price.
So when you moved to Long Beach, which neighborhood or which cross street were you living in first?
The first year I lived with my father-in-law on Spalding and 14th Street, which is not too far from UCC right now. And then my wife got pregnant, so that when we figured that we need our own place. So we got our little condo on the Wadlow and Long Beach Boulevard, Wadlow, in that area.
And did you purchase this condo?
Yes, we purchased the condo.
Yeah, I'm very interested in how housing was like during the 70s, like what was typical for the Cambodian community, and then how was it buying a condo during that time?
So the condo, with the price was actually very reasonable, but at the time though, the interest rate was very high. This is during one of those times when the interest rate, it was sky high because of inflation. You know that right after Vietnam War, the inflation went sky high. I think when I purchased that, I had to pay, 15% interest rate, which was like a lot. So, but we wanted our own place.
Yeah, was it difficult to get a loan? Because I mean, during the 70s and being Asian and a minority, yeah, how was that process?
Actually, it for us, it was not that difficult because both of us have good paying jobs, my wife and myself. So I was a software developer, so is she, and I work at Boeing company, and she worked for CFC. So our combined income was enough to qualify for loan.
I'm very interested in how you start working at Boeing, because that is a very for Long Beach, that is one of the premier employers. Were you able to get the job with Boeing before you got to Long Beach, or was it after when you got here?
So when I quit my job in Virginia, I was after school, I was working in Virginia for like 14 months before coming over here. No, I didn't have a job lined up. As a matter of fact, my coworker said, "You crazy? Why don't you get a job before we move up there?" I said, "No, I'm going." No, I think it was sort of lucky at the time. So Boeing at the time, but at the time it's not called Boeing, it's called the McDonnell Douglas. McDonnell Douglas got bought out by Boeing later on. So McDonnell Douglas were in there, they were hiring a lot at the time they came here in 1979. They were building new airplane called MD-11. They're also building, more DC-10, DC-9. And so they need a lot of workers. So I was very fortunate that I walked into one of these open, what do you call that? You just walk in for interview and they would hire you on the spot.
Like a job.
One of these open job recruitment or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I walk in and for some reason, sometime I talked to the guy who interviewed, who became my boss, really. We just sort of clicked the way we talk. It's just like we got comfortable with each other. And he just hired me on the spot. It's like, okay, I'll take the job. I was lucky.
Were there any other Cambodian or Asians working at Boeing at that time?
There were not Cambodian, not in my department anyway. So there was a lot of some Vietnamese and some Chinese and Japanese. Yeah, there were a small group of Asians working there. But outside my department, though, there were some Cambodian too working in a different area. Year 2001, that's when this Cambodia town thing got started. And the reason for that is, the city of Long Beach, they post these banners, economic banners, they said, along Anhan Street in Cambodia town. On the banner, there's a picture of a Apsara that's drawn by a 4-year-old girl. You probably seen these banners. And on the banner, it says Little Phnom Penh. So this is 2001. And when Cambodian saw that, these were on multiple lampposts. It's not just on one. People got very excited. And, for many years already, people start calling Cambodia town Little Phnom Penh, right? They nickname Little Phnom Penh. So when they see those banners, they thought that, oh, so now the city recognized us. This is our name. This is official. But it turned out it's not true. The banner is, it's just for promotion. They only posted for 3 months. At the end of 3 months, they take it down. So that's why. So the community starts saying, we need to go to the city to have an official designation. Something that doesn't go away after 3 months. So this is why I got involved. So at the time I was at Boeing, and we have good friend with maybe 10 other engineers at Boeing, right? So it's us together. We say, let's do this, let's see if we can go around the community and get the support so that we can take the idea to the city hall. That's how we got started. Actually, our group didn't get started. Actually, we got started with just 2 of us, Harrison and me. We actually went to UCC. Because UCC, is one of the large social service that have Khmer staff. We asked UCC to help. Why don't you start the process to lobby the city for the designation? And UCC said, no, we don't have staff to do this. Our staff have to do their job. We cannot spare our staff to go to the city to lobby. And then we go to CAA. CAA had the same answer to us. CAA was even bigger than UCC at the time. And so it ended up, but UCC hosted a community meeting for us to present the idea. So the first meeting we had at UCC, and second meeting we had at CAA, we invited Cambodian community to come, and they said, yes, we want somebody to lobby to get the formal designation. And myself and 10 of us ended up, forming a group. So with the mandate to go to promote, to lobby the city for the designation. So that's how we got started, 2001. But that is a long process because all of us were full-time employee. We did not have much time to go meet anyone. So it was why it took so many years. Even though we start 2001, it's I had to thank Sitir and Richard, because later on, at the time when we started this, they were working in Cambodia, and then they came back to Long Beach, and then they liked our idea, so we recruited them because they have more time. Not only have more time, they have more network. Previously, they used to work for the city of Long Beach, so they know who is who. Whereas we at the Boeing employee, we do not know anyone at the city hall. We don't have our connections. So only after they came back that we have real progress. And so 2001 is when we started the lobby to get the designation. We did not get the designation until 2007. That it took 6 more years. It's a long, long process.
What was the initial reaction of the city when you asked for the designation?
Okay, so the city, they were concerned about the conflict, right, between us and Black and Hispanic. Because, Cambodia town, it's not just all Cambodia stores. We have Hispanic and Black too. So we have some opposition from the two groups. So the city actually, they don't like that, when you have conflict. So they actually they organize community meetings. Okay, they invited Black, Hispanic leader and us and all the Cambodian community leaders. We had 4 or 5 meetings between us. Okay, and our job was to present the idea and try to sell the idea to them that having Cambodia town designation is going to be a good thing for the city, for everyone, right? Promote businesses, promote tourism. But there's some people, they're on the fence, or they're not quite supported it. And the city want to see like consensus, 100% support before they do anything. There's no way you can get that. So at the end of the 5 meeting, nothing happened because we couldn't get all the Black, Hispanic to support our idea. There are some support, I would say have supported us, but the other half don't. Therefore, you don't have consensus.
So then it took 6 years. What were the big steps to make within that 6 years to get the designation?
The big thing was I think Satir and Richard, they lobby hard. They got back to the Black and Hispanic group, get more support from them. They also organized drive, even among us, got the people to come to the city hall to speak on our behalf, ask people to come and say that, Cambodia town is good. The conflict is not something that would divide different races. And so between Satir and Richard, they were able to get a number of Black organizations and Hispanic organizations to write letter of support. So that thing helps a lot. And also the other thing that we did is the parade. We started the parade. The first parade was 2004. With the parade showing Cambodian culture, with parade, and with people like dressed up in the Cambodian attire. I think that was a big thing that because when we ran the parade in Cambodia town, a lot of people, Cambodian and non-Cambodian, come to see. So they start to appreciate our culture. I think they start to get closer to us. I think that was the main thing, because before the parade, really, I don't think most people know that Cambodia has 1,000 or 2,000-year-old culture. That was an advanced civilization. They didn't know that. I think the parade has a big impact too. All of this with the parade, with the festival, sharing culture, educating about Cambodian heritage, and then at the same time, going to the community, asking for the leader to sign letter of support. All of that, it took a long time. And finally, we got the designation. Took 6 more years.
Who were the groups that helped move it forward? So I know that especially like any elected officials or city folks, leaders that help champion it, because I know a lot of times we need those elected officials to move things forward. So who are those folks? And then what were the groups, the Black, Hispanic groups that, just naming some of them, that help support also? So
I would say the Laura Richardson, who was the city council for 6th district before, she was our champion. Okay. And then Bonnie Lobanto, because she's know our community probably the longest among the city councils. And then of course, Suja Lobanto, she, she feel, I think she feel close to us because she's from India, and at the time they tried to get India town in Artesia, and she had her own problem over there. So I think Laura Suja Lobanto really, when she spoke at the city council meeting, I think she put a lot of people to shame. When the people who don't support, I think I would give a big credit to her for speaking out. I think most of the city council support her, whether it's strong support, weak support. Only one person who hesitated was the 4th District City Council. Hispanic, this has been so long. Quintana, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Jessica Quintana from Central.
Jessica Quintana, at first, she did not, but she actually changed her mind later on. For Blacks, I know that some of the Blacks who always hang out at the rec center behind Poly High School, yeah, those guys supported us. Bill Barnes, Charles Browns. It's a long time. I don't remember all the names.
No, that's great though. That's a good start. Thank you. And so how was Cambodia Town Inc. formed?
So we, we started a group. We called it the Initiative Task Force in 2001. And we did not start Cambodia Town Inc. until 2005, because we figured out that, as an informal group, it was very hard to raise money. It was very hard. We did not have like a spokesperson or the head of the organization, that we don't have real representative. So in 2005, then that's when we figured that we should have a official non-profit agency. That's why we formed Cambodia Town Inc. with the chairperson, treasurer, secretary, and so we can ask for donation because we are a non-profit approved by the IRS. We can also have one person who represent us. So when people have questions or anything, they know who to contact. That's why we formed Cambodia Town. So Cambodia Town, even from the beginning, we do not have paid staff. Everyone is a volunteer. So sometimes it's tough, particularly when most of us have to work for a living. For me, particularly, the main reason I want to have the designation is I think of it as bringing pride to the Cambodian community, having the name, having our own name. Have you guys seen the movie The Killing Fields, 1984? Now, I'm going to tell you that I'm probably the only one who hate that movie. I think from that movie, a lot of people know Cambodians from that movie, and they look at us as people who, I don't know, who are violent, who kill each other. I mean, when you have Cambodian killing Cambodian, that is bad. You commit genocide on your own people. And I know that young children, well, I wouldn't say young kids, but Cambodian children growing up, a lot of them are ashamed of that stigma, Khmer, refugee, Khmer, killing Khmer. So I always think that, Khmer, Cambodian has a long civilization, has advanced civilization. So that is really what I want to bring back, what I want to educate people about, what I want to promote. And Cambodia Town fit into that, with Cambodia Town, with the parade, with the festival, we can bring this culture, Cambodia culture, and share it with the rest of the community. That is the big thing to me, to be proud again, to be proud to be Khmer.
We've been talking about the history piece a lot, but and you touched on this a little bit from sharing what motivates you. But is there like a statement, or what would you share the next generation of Cambodians here in Long Beach? What is your hope? What is your vision for them?
I'm very impressed with the new generation. So I think people like you, So Yon, Susanna, you go to school, you're educated, you are running a nonprofit, and I see that you guys doing a good job reaching out to all the ethnic group, and also at the same time, our own group too, so that we can build this collaboration and build it so that everyone, prosper. I see that, I like that. I think that for the next generation, I think we should keep in mind about our culture. We should be proud of that. Doesn't mean that, we live here, so we're not going to be totally Khmer only. I mean, that is fact. We live here in the US, so there are certain ways that we have to adopt, we have to adjust. But I think being proud of Khmer, being proud of culture, being proud of own heritage, that is very important. And the other thing I want to, the last word, okay. So, that the theme for the Cambodia Town Parade this year is Stop Hate with Love, right? I don't know you noticed that or not. Stop hate with love. I totally believe in that. With all these, mass shooting, all this killing at school and everywhere, I think it's because we just hate. That's why I think Stop Hate with Love is very important. And also, this is probably one of the great lessons I learned from my dad. My dad, he always have the ability to forgive. He always tell us, children, that even when you fight, among yourself, you should forgive each other, okay? And you have to have the ability to forgive and to love each other, because, not everyone not going to live forever. And when you keep the grudges, and when one person is dead, you're going to feel sorry, remorse. So every day he preaches this, love, love, forgive, the act of forgiveness, the ability to forgive, I think is very important. And particularly, maybe not so much in here, but I'm looking back at Cambodia. We were in war before, for many years because of hate. We kill each other. And then I keep comparing that to Thailand. Thailand had never been in a real war. So when I go to Cambodia, I always go to Thailand. And I look at two countries. Thailand, they benefit a lot because they never been in a war. They're doing a lot better than Cambodia. That's why Cambodia, we should never go to war again. We should never kill each other. Peace. Peace is the only one that's going to bring prosperity and let everyone live, happiness, peace, love. forgiveness. I'm talking like a Buddhist, so.
I'm soaking it all in. No, those are very wise words. So thank you.
If there's anything that you would like to, you remember and you wanted to share, just please let me know, or please let us know. This is an amazing amount of information, stories nobody knows, stories that are important to be shared. So I'm so thankful. Thank you so much.
But thank you. Thank you for reaching out to me.